Good morning, y'all. I'm so glad you come to see me in my kitchen today. I have been asked since I put out the ugly biscuit video, people want to know how to make the beef tips and gravy recipe. Listen, I'm going to tell you how to do it, but it's so easy that it won't take you long at all. It's a really, really simple recipe. So let me pull on my glasses and tell you a little bit about where to find that recipe at for beef tips and gravy. In the cookbook, remember this cookbook, the Time to Eat Y'all Bicentennial Cookbook, it is on page 148, Beef Tips and Gravy. And let me tell you, it's really, really simple. You're going to get one family size package of beef tips. Okay, this is my family size package right here. And I've got about 5 pounds of beef tips in here. And you're also going to need a tablespoon of olive oil, which I have right here. For the family size, you're going to need 2 cans of golden mushroom soup. Really good stuff. You're going to need 1.5 cups of water, and you're going to need some salt to taste. So these are the ingredients for beef tips and gravy. This is so easy. We're going to pour this in the crock pot and let it cook all day long, and then we'll have some good stuff coming when it's time for supper. Hey, sweetie.
I got some work to do on the farm.
Okie
Let me
dokie.
kiss the cook.
Okay, thank you, David. Bye, sweetie.
Bye-bye.
Be careful. David's got to go out and work on the farm some, and if you notice, he said he's got to kiss the cook. Well, if you notice my apron now, he bought me this because sometimes he sneaks in here and gives me some sugar, and I'm all right with it. We've been married for 38 years, and I'm glad he still wants to sneak in here and get a little smooch. Well, anyway, back to the beef tips and gravy. If you don't have beef tips, but you have a roast, go ahead and do this with a roast. It's going to cook all day anyway. You're going to love, love, love the gravy. So let me show you about putting it together in the crock pot. First of all, you get your beautiful stew meat. Now, y'all know, if you're looking at this real closely, you might say, this looks a little different than my normal beef stew meat, but y'all, this right here is venison. My husband's a deer hunter. My family, they hunt, and we love to harvest the good, wholesome deer meat, or also known as venison. And so this is about 5 to 6 pounds of venison. Now, you can use beef. Like I said, back in the day when I first made this, when I made it that day I made the ugly biscuits, remember? I needed biscuits to go with the gravy in this. It was beef stew meat. And so this is what I'm doing. Now the next thing I'm going to do is pull out I'm going to put 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Now you don't want to skip this step because this really adds a richness to this gravy. So we're going to put 1 tablespoon and just dribble it over that. We're going to stir it all together in a minute, but that's what we're doing. The next, and look y'all, I've got a spoon rest that David bought for me, and I don't know if you can see this, but it says, hey y'all, because I know I'm a Southern mama, I'm a Deep South mama. We always say y'all down here. So he bought that for me. I thought it was sweet. He's a pretty good one, and I'm keeping him, you know. Well, anyway, we're also going to put in our 2 cans. Easy to do. Pour them right in. Now look, you don't have to make 5 or 6 pounds like I'm doing. I like, when I cook, I like to cook a lot. And if there were to ever be any leftovers, I would put it in the freezer, but this stuff goes really fast. So if you don't want to cook a big bunch, you can half the meat and then you can only use 1 can. That would be fine, and half the water. It's no big deal. Okay, we're going to put 1.5 cup of water in here. So we're pouring it right in. Here's my little measuring cups that I love, you know. So we're pouring this right in. That was a half. And then we got a salt to taste. Now, different people like different amounts of salt. David and I try to keep our salt intake low, but we do like the taste of it. And this is what I do all the time. I just twist off the lid instead of grabbing the big thing out and do it like this, pour it in there. Now I'm starting with a teaspoon because this is a lot of meat I have in here. But now listen, ladies and gentlemen, and new cooks, and cooks that have been around a while, we have to taste this. It's our job as the cook to taste it and see if it's going to taste good to us before we serve it to our family. So as I'm stirring this up to get all this mixed together, I'll just tell you about that. Every time before I serve food, I get in the kitchen by myself, get a little bite of it and let it cool off, because if you don't, you only have to burn your mouth real bad one time before you'll remember it the next time. But what I do is get in there and do a little taste, and I see if it needs salt or pepper or what I think it needs to season it up. And because, you know, when you sit down at the table, you don't want your family going, oh, this tastes terrible, Mom. You know, you don't want them to do that, and you want them to say, oh, this is good. So if you'll just do a little taste before you serve it, then you can ensure that your family's going to like it. Now, what I'm doing now, which you may or may not be able to see, is just stirring all this together. Now, y'all, this is going to be really good in about 6 to 8 hours. We're going to put it on low in our crock pot. And y'all, I've had this crock pot since Moby Dick was a minute. It's so old. But I'm fixing to put this in the crock pot, turn it on low, put that lid on, and turn it on low. Now, if I were wanting to serve this, it's in the morning here, and if I were wanting to serve this at lunch, I would turn it on high and let it cook till lunch. But I'm going to let this cook on low all day long. And I know that we've talked about what's going on in the world, and we're all in because we are trying to stay away and not pass the virus around. But I'm going to tell you something. You can still have some good food as this is going on. And this is a really easy recipe. And in the next few days, I'll post the recipes for both things. I'm working on different sites to get that posted now, but I'll post recipes for both sites if you don't have the cookbook. So anyway, this is a really good recipe, really easy. And remember, if you don't have the beef tips, you can always use this with a roast. It's going to be wonderful. You're going to love the gravy. Anyway, later on when David gets home from work, I will show you what it looks like when it gets done in another video. But what am I going to do? I'm going to praise God and give God the glory for this beautiful day, and that I get to see you guys, and that I get to feed my husband and my family today with some beef tips and gravy and some ugly biscuits. And because we're all looking for things to do, because we're staying at home now, what I'm about to do, and one reason I'm putting all this stuff in the crock pot and letting it do the work all day, is because I'm going to go outside and tackle my flower beds. You know, they've been sitting there all winter long, and now the sun's come back out, and things are growing in it that ought not to be growing there. So I'm going to go pull some weeds and have a really good day doing it. So my thought for you today is praise God and give God the glory, because this is a beautiful day and we are blessed to spend it with each other. So bye-bye, y'all. Have a really good day from Danna's kitchen to your heart. Love you dearly. Bye-bye. All right, y'all, I'm about to pull these biscuits out of the oven, and we're going to get some gravy on them. And I told you earlier, we got a taste of them and make sure they taste good. So these two people are my tasters today. This is my grandson, JD. This is my granddaughter, Leah, and Wyatt's outside doing something, so he'll miss the tasting, but he'll get a good dose later. So I'm going to pull out the biscuits right now. And I got a really good-looking, hot, ugly biscuit. And look how it looks on this side. Beautiful.
Crispy.
Very good. It's going to be excellent. And let's get some of this gravy. And remember, I told you how to make it thicker in one of my tips with a slurry. And this is looking pretty good right now. So we're just going to do a little bit of taste test here and see how it is. There's Wyatt. You want to come on over and do a little taste test with us and see how good this is? Now we're going to have to let this cool. So while we're letting it cool, let's turn around and get 4 forks. Very good. They're good kids, aren't they? Here, I need one. All right, now this is hot, so we're going to have to decide what we're going to do to cool it off. But doesn't this look good, y'all? Beef tips and gravy, and we got that ugly biscuit under there. It's smoking hot, right out of the crock pot that I showed you how to cook this morning. Now, what I suggest, I'm going to pull off a little and then blow on it and let it cool. What do y'all want to do?
That's what I'll do.
We don't want a burnt mouth. We've done that before. It's not good, is it?
It is not.
All right. We got to blow.
I guess I'll take some here.
We got to see if it needs salt, pepper, what it needs. Y'all ready? Blow the smoke off. That is good. I think it's pretty good. I don't think it needs a thing. What do y'all think?
They used to have it salt, but it's pretty
Okay,
good.
we'll put a little tab of salt in it for JD,
It's
and
really
then
good.
we'll move on. So thanks for joining us with this beef tips and gravy and ugly biscuits. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
We could,
Let's just keep eating.
we could like.
This
put
is so good, isn't it?
Some clothes on.
What do you
the
think,
start
Wyatt?
line
Good.
and, you know, as a
Name it.
tradition.
Where's Melba?
Part of the team.
Hey.
What's that?
Hey. We gotta set the table, don't we?
Just
Could be Rosie, like some Jets.
Rosie. Well, I don't know, maybe we could like.
I might
Fix
survive.
it to the top of the Roomba, you know,
Move it around.
and have it be going around, you know.
It's good, isn't it?
We could put, well, if there's a phone in the.
Y'all know I love you if I make you
Actually,
this.
Put an iPad and make a
Actually,
case.
I mean, I've got, you know, Raspberry
We
Pi
love it.
program